Okay. Good morning, everybody. Mr. Tim Lockey from the Mississippi State Cemetery is here. He's going to do a presentation, so if y'all would give him your utmost divided attention, please. Tim and I kind of joke around a little bit, but anyway, we won't go from there on that. But if y'all would, let's welcome Mr. Tim Lockey.
Yeah, me and JC we go way back, about 3 weeks. Is that it? we mess around. We talk to each other on the phone. We help each other out with the different organizations. But like I said, I'm Tim Lockey. I'm the director for the State Veterans Cemetery, which is located in Newton, Mississippi, which is approximately 5 miles between Newton and Hickory on Highway 80. I got some brochures and some of my business cards up here on the table. And if you'd like to take one, it gives you information of the cemetery. And my business card, of course, will give you my phone number and my email. Can everybody hear me? We're going to need to talk a lot louder. Talk louder? Did you hear? Okay.
You all right?
All right. So if you want to call in at any time to the cemetery and ask any type of questions, and I hope I can answer most of your questions today, either myself or Nick Leopoldus, who is the cemetery representative, will be in the office at all times. So except after 4:30. 4:30 we do get to go home. But we have an answering machine. So leave your message and we'll give you a call back. What I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to put this little movie on. It's going to walk you through the cemetery. And when we get done, I'll go back and I'll explain some specific points at the cemetery, okay? And if this messes up, I apologize. Okay, here we go. Let me get out of the way.
Some music.
I haven't figured that part out yet.
I'll
I'll sing if you want to. I just kind of started playing with this a couple of days ago, so I haven't figured out how to put the music on there yet.
Hey.
Yes, sir.
Write my name on that bill.
What is this?
Well, they got going out with names on it.
All right, this is a short, very, very short tour of the cemetery. Now, let's see if I can get this to work. All right, I'm not going to play this. All right. All right. This is the entrance to the cemetery off of Highway 80. As you can see, some of the grass and stuff's still not developed because we're still now in the process of getting our sod and our grass to come out. But this is the entrance from Highway 80.
You'll have to let it play and go to the next.
Oh, let it play and then go?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
You can hit
I'll
pause.
put that music on. Get that, some AC/DC or something. Okay, this is the Persian Gulf War Memorial that we have at the entrance. Right behind the brick wall you saw the Mississippi Veterans Memorial Cemetery. We came into the cemetery. This is right behind it. Probably good, I don't know, 60, 70 yards. But here we have the tiles. Right now, presently, we've got 96 personnel from the state of Mississippi who were killed during the Persian War conflict that was started back in 1990 till present. Everyone is on the wall, and we've noted them. The way we got this information is we contacted the families. A lot of the families had a rough time doing this. It's a pretty personal wall, actually. It's beautiful. It's black granite with lasered in pictures of the person with the campaign that he was in, the time of his death, and the time of his birth. Now there are tiles on there that just has the service, the seal, because we cannot acquire pictures from the family for that. And I apologize for this taking so long, but like I said, I just started to try to do this. This is the flag that when you come into the cemetery, you go down the Avenue of Flags, which is a long road. I didn't take a picture of that because we don't have the flags up right now. So it's just been a road. This is the flag that we have at the circle when you first enter the cemetery after the Avenue of Flags. After this, you go into the circle, you'll see the admin building, you'll see the middle part of the columbarium, and most of the graveside areas right now. But I didn't take pictures of those areas because I just didn't. Does that make sense? This is the administration building. Right now in there we have 3 offices, myself and the cemetery rep works here, and with the breezeway in between. What it is, the breezeway is part of the walk that we have that goes out the back towards the committal shelter and the memorial garden that we have out on the back side. All right, we'll make it through there. This is just another picture of the admin building itself. Okay. This is the columbariums that we have. Presently, we have 576 niche doubles, and we do triples in the columbarium. So we can do actually more than 576, but that's what we have right now, present, to be used. All right. Okay, that's just the other side. Okay. This is our committal shelter. All right, this is where we do all the services after the funeral home has transported the remains to us. What we do here is we set up chairs for the family members. We put out a church truck, which is what we put the casket on. We have with the flag draped. What we do is the family's religious person of their preference will come out and do the ceremony. We allow them 20 minutes to do their ceremony here at the committal shelter because of the way we schedule. We have them back to back to back. So we can't let them be out there for a long period of time because it takes away from us trying to do the rest of our job in an honest way that a little bit. We have the 5 seals of the services on the back wall. So what we do with this is after the service is completed, we have a little big truck called a Toro, or we call it a casket carrier. It's a Toro with an enclosed bed on the back. So what we do is we come up to the committal shelter, receive the remains from a sim route, drive them to their burial site, lower the remains, and prepare the grave for a final viewing. We don't let anybody come to the grave site until we completely fixed it for final viewing. We can't allow people to do graveside services or visit the gravesite while we're working due to safety reasons, and that is an NCA policy which we have to follow. Some people, nobody's said anything about it yet, but I got a feeling somebody might in the future. This is the Caroline Tower, Caroline Tower. We call it the Bell Tower. This was the Friends of Mississippi went around and collected money to build this on the cemetery site. We've got 7,000 songs that we can play to the Caroline Tower. Anything with taps already programmed in there. That's the major thing that we use it for is for taps. You can play, or take that back, 10,000 songs. So if you want to hear something nice, when this thing's going off, it sounds beautiful. You can do it in regular bell sound, rhythmic bell sound, just 3 or 4 different types of bell sounds that will come out. But this cost them it was around $100,000 to $110,000 to get this, to collect money to contribute this to the cemetery. It's really pretty. The picture doesn't give it justice. This is our 60-foot flagpole that we have on the uppermost hill of the cemetery. This is going to be, we're going to have a road cut to it when we go into phase 2, which will be in about 7 years. We'll have an asphalt road cut up to it. Right now, we have no road except going through an old cow barn. So what we're going to do is we're going to prepare here in a couple of months to do a gravel road up to it so we can let people go up there and view it. It's really pretty, and you can see a pretty good ways around it. We have it lighted, so at nighttime when you're driving down I-20, you can see it. If you drive down Highway 80, you can't see that one, just because of where it sits. So I'm going to get out of there. And where's the power button here, Norm?
The blue.
That blue one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hit it again. Okay. It has to cool down.
It's okay, I got you. Now a little bit more information on the cemetery, which you are probably wondering about. First thing you have to do is you have to be an eligible veteran, or an eligible spouse, or eligible dependent. Now with the dependents, it depends upon what age they are. For those who've been in the military, to keep up on stuff, we know that after the age of 23, your dependents are no more considered eligible, unless they have a medical defect that they depend on the family parents for, okay? Which we take that on a case-by-case basis. To be eligible, you have to be on active duty. Before September of 1980, you had to be on active duty. 1 day, 2 hours, didn't matter. After September 1980, the requirement is 24 months on active duty to be eligible. Okay? Haven't had anybody not eligible yet. Okay? Reserves and guards. for eligibility for the reserves and guard. You had to have done 20 years of active duty, and at the age of 60 or 62, I can't remember, eligible for retirement pay. Okay? If you were in one of those organizations, they activated you, and you had to go, say you had to go to Afghanistan. They activated you for a year to go to Afghanistan. You had to stay in theater for that year to qualify for eligibility, unless the unit itself disembarked the unit over there and they came back early. Did I confuse y'all? Because I think I confused myself. If I went out there for a year, and after 6 months I said, I can't handle this no more, send me home, and they sent me home, I would not be eligible to be buried in the state cemetery. If they said, okay, we're done here, we're going back 6 months early, then I would be eligible. That doesn't confuse us as much. Now, when you're planning, when you go and talk to your funeral home, when you get there, you need to take a copy of your DD-214, and if you're married, it would be nice to go ahead and take a copy of your marriage license, if you plan for your husband or your wife to be buried with you. Okay? Upon passing, the funeral home will contact us at the cemetery. What we'll do then is we will run an eligibility check off of your DD-214 or discharge papers, because there are different ones. We'll run an eligibility check. It takes about 48 to 72 hours. Or if everything on the form is correct, I can approve it right there on the spot, which is 99% of the time we can do. Okay? So once that's done, and the funeral home contacted us, eligibility and everything is good, we'll contact the funeral home and tell them, okay, we're going to schedule this interment burial on, today's what, Thursday? On Monday at 10 o'clock. And they'll say, well, the family wants to do it Saturday at 10 o'clock. We don't do burials on holidays or on the weekends, unless it's a killed in action. And they have preference over anyone and everything. So if I was to be buried Monday at 10, there was a KIA, and they brought them in back to the States, and their family said we're burying them today at 10, then I would get bumped out to 11, or whatever we got completed with theirs. Okay? But once we contact the funeral home, after eligibility has been checked and approved, or disapproved, we'll let them know. We'll schedule for the interment or the burial, and we'll go from there. The funeral home, at the funeral home, your expenses at the funeral home will be as such, whatever they charge for their services. Okay? For the veteran, we charge nothing to be buried in the state cemetery. For your spouse or dependent, depending on the age of the dependent, or the medical, it's a $450 charge. Now, the national cemeteries don't charge this, okay? But that's a national cemetery. They get their funds from the federal government. We get our funds from the state government. Totally different. So we have to do something to get back into our budget so we can run the cemetery, okay? So they're charged $450. Now, for both the veteran and the spouse and the dependent, if eligible, that will cover your opening and closing of the grave. But if you go to a funeral home, that's $450, straight off. We do grave liners, okay, our vaults, our crypts, whatever you want to call it. Of course, we ordered the headstones for the veteran and the spouse, okay? And we do perpetual care, which again is probably $450 to $600. The vault, the grave liner on the crypt, starts at about $700 and goes until infinity, whatever they want to charge you. So right there, you're going to save a little bit of money when you go to the funeral home to make your funeral arrangements. Now the $450 includes a casket burial or urn burial. Okay, we have the kind of burial as you saw, and we also have in-ground for cremations. Okay? With that, you get the regular upright headstone, marble white headstone. That's all we'll have at the cemetery is the upright headstones. So when the funeral home and ourselves get everything set, they'll bring the remains to the cemetery. They'll stop at the administration building. They'll check in with myself or Nick. We'll make sure they've got everything in order. We'll get with the family and we will give them a folder. In this burial folder is going to have the certificate, the presidential certificate, information to order presidential certificate. You can order up to 10 of those per person. Okay? We give a map of the cemetery. On that map, it'll have what section, what row, and what number gravesite that their loved one is buried in. Okay? Also in that is the floor regulations, because we have a strict floor regulations at the cemetery, as does the National Cemetery. For example, before and after Christmas, say 2 weeks before Christmas, 2 weeks after Christmas, you can put pretty much what you'd like to out there. During the summertime, you can't put live flowers. They have to be artificial. If we're cutting grass, we're going to pull them off the grave sites, but we will put them back. After 10 days, we pull everything off the site. And we'll contact you and let you know we're doing it. And we also have signs. So when the funeral home brings the remains, checks in with us, we get the family their packet, we ask them at that time, is your headstone information correct? And do you want to have an inscription at the bottom? Okay? Now the inscription at the bottom can't be like, have another one, Joe. We've already had that passed. We've had, have one for me, have one for the road. All that kind of silly stuff we don't allow. Beloved father, husband, mother, grandfather, and husband, that kind of stuff. We do allow. Okay? If there's any questions at that time, we'll have the family come back after the services and we'll correct that information. We also let them know that we have 7 days to make any corrections or change anything on the headstone before we submit it up to the headstone services up in D.C. So when that's done, we'll escort them down to the communal shelter. They do the service. We come up with a casket carrier, take the remains out to the gravesite. Okay? Right now where we're burying is in section 7, which is a double crypt, is a crypt field as we call it. You do 2 burials together. So you and your wife or you and your husband are going to be in the same gravesite. Okay? And no, we don't bury people standing up, feet first, on their sides, whatever. We've had these type of questions. It's a standard. I don't know how you are if you're in a casket. I don't know how you're laying. You can be on your stomach with your back. So I don't know. We do it in the traditional way. Okay? If, by example, or if you don't have a spouse or dependent child and you are a single veteran that passes, we'll put you over in a traditional area that we have set right beside that in a grave liner or a vault, whatever you'd like to call it. So once we get that done, we go back, we prepare the grave site for final viewing, okay? We'll put a temporary marker on there, and we'll tell the family, please come back after 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock. Depends on how many services we have that day and how many burials we have to do. So we get that all taken care of, and we go do our other stuff. Family can come out and view the body, view the gravesite. We don't let them view bodies after, I'm sorry. Do the gravesite. If they find something wrong with it, they'll come up and talk with us and we'll try to maintain it and fix it. Right now presently we have 7 interments in the crypt field, our section 7, and it's so wet, it looks nasty. Because everywhere we got the grave sites right now, that's why I didn't take pictures of it. That's why I said I'd explain it. We've had so much rain, the top water's coming off, it's pushing the dirt up. So we have to go in there every day and push the dirt down. But no big deal, it happens. I'd rather push it up than have it sink in. Okay, it's harder to fill one that started to sink. So when that's done, we're pretty much done with that burial, except for the admin office. Then we have to go back in, make sure that everything on the BOSS system, which is a specialized NCA computer, I hate it, program, okay, that you have to go back through and do a bunch of more stuff to. In that program though, when we order the headstones, we'll have 30 to 120 days for the headstone to come in, okay? Once the headstone comes in, we'll set the headstone, we will call the family and say the headstone has been set, okay? Then they can come out and view it. When we get the headstone itself, we check for everything, the spelling. We got a meter that we put down into the letters. If they don't meet a specific depth or they're not the right color, we reorder it and we have to dispose of that one in the proper way. That, in general, is pretty much what we do at the cemetery, what we have to offer family members. So on that, I'm going to shut up and let y'all ask me some questions, if you have any.
Question.
Yes, sir.
You told us that the expenditures for our operation was from state funds altogether.
We get ours from the state funds. Now, they do get stuff from the VA, which is federal government, but it's very minute of what we get.
Okay, now, you do have some fees that you're collecting on that. But let me ask you one other question about the expenditure now. Do you requisition, do you know whether it's requisitioned each year, annually, the amount they need, or is it allocated in advance? You know?
I said, it's in the budget that we allocate up to them. I mean, like when we first started, we just opened in July the 5th was our opening. Before that, we had to put in for a grant. So we put in for the grants, which started in 07. The VA provided us money to buy our heavy equipment and stuff. So that's kind of like that. But we have to match it also. We have to do a 50-50 thing. So we do that, we get our stuff, we send them, for what they tell us that we can order and they will pay for, we send them those bills of labor. So we get that money back to put back into our budget. We have, I don't know what the budget is for the cemetery, you know, on an annual basis. I don't know that yet. What we do also is we do charge a $4.50 fee for the spouse dependents that comes back into our budget for operating expenses. And we also do a monthly, our annual report on the amount of land that we have, how many interments we've done, so forth and so on. What we estimate that our budget will be for that past operating year, and we send that up to the state, which is a long way to be in. And we also, sir.
Oh, if you threw out one comment that people might be interested, Alabama County has some roots there too. The American Legion Auxiliary made a donation on Avenue of Flags.
Yeah, I have it
right out of here.
I'll mention that. Because I did with past Commander Trest, I was mentioning on that too. But every month we also have to send a report in to the VA on the veterans that we have did interments on. And we do get a little bit back from the VA on that. It's not a lot. I think it's about $300 or $350. That's all we get. So that's pretty much our operating cost, besides what the state gives us for the budget.
Well, I can see that you would, of course, your annual expenditure is going to vary. It's going to be more each year. I guess they would have to have a funding mechanism set up in a way where they would be able to take care of any additional amount of money that you would need and all that.
I'm assuming they do. That's out of my realm.
Yeah.
That's above my head. And if it's above my head, I don't worry about all that stuff. It just makes my job work. But as the gentleman was saying, the American Legion donated 100 flags that go on the Avenue of Flags. And the next time I put those flags up, I'm going to call the American Legion and say, come help us, because I have 2 people. And I'm telling them, hey, you donated it, now come help us put them up and take them down. Probably won't happen, we don't care. We just start earlier, that's just kind of like a joke for us down at the cemetery. We do what we got to do. Right, personally right now I have 2 people. I have myself and Nick in the admin office. They have 2 people in the field, Henry and Joe. We do everything. I might be in the office one day and out in the field for 3 days. Nick's the same way. I don't let those guys come in and do anything in the office because they'll probably blow us up. Yes, ma'am.
Can you send paperwork in to pre-qualify for these?
No, ma'am.
It has to be done.
If you're not, well, you can. It depends upon what our workload is. What we call is pre-registration. And if you do a pre-registration, I don't have the manpower to do what you have to do for that. If you want to send in a DD-214 early or a discharge certificate, I'll go check it tomorrow. And then you'll know if you don't use it for 20 years, you know, you'll still know. And we'll keep a copy there in a file folder that says eligible with your name and all the information, and we'll keep it. So in 20 years, if yourself or whomever passes, we can go back, pull it out. We can't throw anything away. But we also have that in a computer system. So. And it's also up in St. Louis. So it's all kept. So we'll always have it.
Okay, so when you actually pass away, you can just say, well, I pre-qualified in 2011. You know, I sent in all the paperwork like in August of 2011. Can you check your files?
Possibility, but there's a possibility, you know, something might happen. So it's still best, it's still a good idea to go ahead and give a DD-214 or discharge to the funeral home. And what we'll do at that time, when they contact us, we'll go back and look. Sure will. So we'll say yes and no. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
I have one that's not so much in the cemeteries. I'm real supportive of hiring of veterans that get prior service, and does you have some kind of deal down there where y'all give veterans preference on the hiring?
Yes, sir. I am prior military. I did 26 years in the United States Navy as a trauma corpsman, 16 years with the Marines, 3 tours in Iraq. I am not back there. Retired off of a carrier, did 3 ships. So I've been around a pretty good bit. Veterans do have a preference, yes, sir. When they do the application with the state, there's a question on there, are you a veteran, or are you not a veteran? And if you are, you check yes. If you're not a veteran, then you check no. When I receive those applications, that's the first thing I look for. If it says veteran, then you're automatically going to get to go. If it says none, then I wait until I see how many veterans I have and what the position is before I make a decision. Yes, sir.
I apologize to you. You're such a good speaker, I thought for sure you were retired Air Force. So I apologize to you. Do I still get to be buried?
May I borrow your camera stand so I can talk to him? No, you know, actually, I'm a terrible speaker because I use my hands. And if I did it the Navy way, I would be at a podium like this, and I'd scan the room, and I'd give you an objective, and I'd tell you what I want to talk about, and so no. And after I said,
strategic plan.
do I?
You forgot the strategic plan.
I don't know what that is. But no, I figured I've probably done, I don't know, I can't count on all our hands and toes how many I've probably done. I have another one of these to do tonight, actually. And then I get to go to Collins tomorrow and do this at Collins also, maybe, after the board meeting, that I have to give a talk to too.
What's that?
So I'm not really, and I figured, you know, I'm here with veterans, I'm here with family and friends, so that's why I didn't wear my, you know, $800 suit, which I don't really have. I'm just a common person like everybody else, you know. We're all veterans, we all work for the veterans, we do things for the veterans. You know, I do non-veteran organizations, I do the same thing. So I guess what I'm saying is if I feel comfortable on top with y'all, then maybe y'all feel comfortable also. Now, I want to wear my cut-off shorts, my sandals, and my, you know, my beach shirt, but you know, I didn't think y'all like that too much, especially with it raining. I don't know why y'all come up here and make it rain. I hate to say this too, but I'm tired of the rain. We've had so much down south. Okay, I'm going to shut up now. Any more questions? No, JC, I will not take stuff for you to surplus. but if y'all don't have any more questions, like I said earlier, I've got some brochures up here and a business card. I'd be more than happy for y'all to take one, please. If you need more, let me know, and I can send some back up here to Sherry, or whoever she tells me to send them to. With that said, thank you very much for having me up here.